Yes, I saw Kanye West wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. Yes, I saw him standing next to Candace Owens, who is also wearing a White Lives Matter shirt. Yes, I saw all the various tweets and think pieces about how Kanye West doing this is infringing upon black people and how dare he disrespect the black community like this. Oh my God, how could you, Kanye? I've idolized you for years. How could you wear something that's so indicative and hurtful to the black community?
Kanye, yay, whoever you are, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. One day I have empathy and sympathy for Kanye and I feel for him and I'm like, you know what? He's like truly this like creative and he's so misunderstood and all of this. And then he goes and does like White Lives Matter. And I don't know, he probably has some deeper psychological, transformative reason that's like rooted in like history and explanation and deep dives. He probably has some reasoning to what this means. But it's the fact that he continues to use his large platform to literally laugh in the faces of black people. And that is just what I feel like this is. Whether the meaning is a joke or a double meaning, like, oh, white lives don't matter because like black lives matter, like whatever it is, it's just weird. And it's just strange that he continues to dangle, a little cherry in front of us like this. And we're his supporters. We are the ones who are supposed to feel bad for Kanye when, the white men at Gap are not taking him seriously, or when Adidas is trying to play him. We're the ones who are like, oh, Kanye, we have your back. And then, okay, white lives matter though. Okay, of course they do, but it's like, what is your point? And we have Miss Candace here, which we're going to stop there.
Yes, I saw people who are not the best representatives of black people criticizing Kanye, claiming that him wearing a shirt is an embarrassment to black people. I saw it all and I laughed at it all. But I need everybody to do me a favor. Put a pin in that because I'm going to deal with it later in the week. Isn't it interesting that there are more people upset at a dude wearing a shirt and not an organization that scammed them out of millions of dollars and did nothing but give it to themselves, get sued for it, and oh, by the way, spend it on mansions thinking that would better the black community? No, you didn't realize it? That's okay. We're going to deal with it later in the week. There's something I want to show all of you while you're so fixated on a guy wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt. And if you've been on this channel for any length of time, you know that this is good news to me and everybody with a brain.
Just hours ago, the man who shot and killed retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn learned he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Our Christine Byers was in court as the defendant learned his fate. And Christine, he addressed the grieving Dorn family.
That's right. And right before Judge Teresa Counsberg sentenced him, Stefan Cannon told her he wanted to express his condolences to the Dorn family and insisted he was not the killer. David Dorn was trying to protect a friend's pawn shop from looters in the early morning hours of June 2nd, 2020. Protests over the death of George Floyd had devolved into riots, and 4 St. Louis officers were shot that night as well. The getaway driver and roommates identified Stefan Cannon as Dorn's killer from surveillance images. Now, no forensic evidence connected Cannon to the shooting. At the sentencing hearing, Cannon listened as some of Dorn's children, his nephew, and his widow read victim impact statements. All of them told Cannon he was the type of young man Dorn spent his life trying to put on the right path. Dorn's widow, Ann Dorn, says she disagrees with Cannon when he says he's innocent.
Evidence says otherwise, and a jury thought otherwise. Justice was served. I thank the judge and the jury that did the job, and Marvin Tier, a wonderful prosecutor, that got justice for our family. It meant a lot to us that this man will never see the light of day.
Now, Stefan Cannon's mother was unable to be at today's hearing, but I spoke to her on the phone, and she said the getaway driver is the one who killed Captain Dorn, and she is confident God will ensure her son's conviction will get overturned.
While you sit there and only jump when a black life is taken by a white person or a cop, you're showing everybody black lives only matter when they're convenient. How is New Orleans the murder capital of the country? That's a city with a lot of black people in it, yet I'm not seeing a bunch of protests. You got the mayor saying, I'm not standing for that. That's not true. You can't just put that on my city, yet nothing is being done. She'll put an afro pick in the middle of the city, but won't help out in trying to fix the problem of people hurting each other in the city. You got all these different instances of black people harming black people being in situations where they're being vandalized, black people being in situations where they're being harmed, and they're not getting the protests, they're not getting the marches, they're not getting all this fanfare. It's only when it's a white person that's the problem that everybody wants to get up and sing Kumbaya and talk about how we got to fix issues and talk about how we got problems. You got LeBron James who will talk about things and not really know what's going on, and himself looking very dumb to the point O.J. Simpson got to correct him, which is ironic.
Hey, Twitter world, is me, yours truly. Tough morning listening to all the criticism that LeBron James is getting. I'm a fan of LeBron. I admire the work that he's done, how he's helped his community and how he's helped his friends, and how he's been fighting all of these social issues, especially that of systemic racism in the legal system and with the police departments around our country. But you can't fight every battle. You know, you can't, you got to pick your battles. I mean, it's a war that must be fought, but sometimes you need to take your time and be a little more patient before you comment on some of these bad incidences that are happening with police departments. This one, LeBron should have waited. I'm a little upset with most of the media because they showed us edited versions of what took place with the girl with the knife. They made it sound as if this was another police officer overreacting and killing a young black American. Well, from what I saw when I saw the full tape, the police guy had no choice. He responded. We wish he could have pulled a taser. We wish he could have done it in another way. But in that instance, if he hadn't done what he did, it appeared to me if another young American would have had her life taken. And hey, I can't fault what he did. I wish it was different, but I can't fault it. But LeBron, keep fighting the fight. I think we all got to be a little more patient. I'm against defunding the police. I think you just got to redirect some of those funds to better training and maybe dealing with more psychological training.
It's embarrassing the hoops y'all jump through to claim Black Lives Matter, but when people literally gift wrap you an issue that is easy to tackle, you don't do it because, oh, well, it's not important. Oh, well, it's a conservative talking about it. Oh, well, that's not really a big issue. Oh, well, the statistics say this. Oh, well, it's because of poverty that black people commit crimes, which is the dumbest excuse in my book, because if you could say a black person is committing crimes because of where they grew up or because of poverty, the other side of the spectrum can say white kids shoot up schools because they got bullied or because of video games or because their home life is not good. Making excuses for a bad decision is a dumb way to go. I'm sorry to hurt your wee black feelings. I know you want reparations every single day until you die, but that is embarrassing to actually make an argument. And you look like a fool when you're making that argument. And I, as somebody who's just paying attention and watching all these activists show up and then disappear, collect money, and then get sued for all that money, I am having the time of my life watching a bunch of hypocrites try to dance and try to make it all make sense, because they can't. They can't justify why they show up here, but why they don't show up there. They can't justify how they show support for this thing, but don't show support for that thing. It's all a game. And the funniest part about it is you sit there and you say Black Lives Matter, but when it doesn't fit your narrative, seemingly Black lives don't matter at that point. They barely get tweets, they barely get acknowledgement, they barely get the protest. It is still, to this day, embarrassing how a BLM activist, Sasha Johnson, did not get the same fanfare as a George Floyd and a Breonna Taylor. Spare me the excuses. Spare me all the examples you could bring up. Spare me how it's different. You didn't show up for somebody in your own camp. And that is the most embarrassing thing that I have seen from any of you people. And as long as y'all continue to play this game game, the more and more people are going to notice it. Like Kanye, like a Candace, like a me, like a Young Ripper, like a Gothics, like all these different people who just sit and watch y'all play this game and watch y'all lose this game. So my only request as somebody who's just watching and laughing, how about you actually show up for Black Lives Taken Unjustly? Not just the convenient ones, not just pulling Ben Crump out his toilet and Al Sharpton out the grave. You actually step up and try to help your communities, try to better your communities, because as much as you want other people to do it for you, it's better when you realize the problem and you fix it yourself. And if you're not gonna do that, stop bitching about why you live in a hellhole. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.